So here we are, we're at the last week in January. It feels like we're on the precipice here. We have had all sorts of developments and innovations from Sorare on the platform, on top of an untold number of teases, lures, and Easter eggs scattered around everywhere, signalling the oncoming, the onboarding of the English Premier League onto Sorare at the end of January, beginning of February. And everywhere, from the live chats on the live streams that I do before every Sorare game week, the comment sections on the videos, never mind the comment sections across all social media, no matter where you consume your content when you're sitting on the toilet or whatever, I will be putting out content there, no doubt. And if you don't follow me, handles are all down here. Quinny, if you started playing Sorare today as a free-to-play player, playing with limited cards, playing with rare cards, how would you approach it with all the experience you've got from playing this game for the last couple of years and knowing what's in store for the upcoming period? What would your strategy, what would your tactics be? And going into messages and responding to every individual isn't easy. I love doing this video whenever that question becomes bubbling under the surface again and everyone's kind of asking. So no matter where you are on your Sorare journey, I hope you get something out of this video today. If you haven't even started playing Sorare yet and you're here for a bit of a beginner's guide or whatever, there's a link in the description in this video that'll get you a free card once you've bought 5 cards from the market, as well as in the actual description of the video, you'll also find the links to the playlist. If you're new to Sorare, start here for 2023. That's got all the beginner basic stuff that you're going to need. This video today is exact strategy and tactics for what we know is coming and where the chips may lie, depending on what part of the game you currently reside in, whether you're brand new, been here for a little while with some of these scarcities that we're talking about. We won't be actually tipping cheap budget players in this video. That's on the Road to Glory series. You'll find that every Wednesday here on the channel. And then I do give away cards in that video as well. So if you are new, it's a great place to get going. You might win some cards as well for participating in the content at any point in the video. But today, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel, share and retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble. And yeah, let's get stuck into it. Now, normally in these videos, it's prudent and it feels appropriate to start with like commons and then would work my way up. But today, with the stuff that we know is in the offing, it feels much more appropriate to do the reverse. No matter where you are on your Sorare journey, if you've got 0 cards, if you've got 1,000 cards, I think rares dictates so much of what is interesting, competitive, and already established within the kind of Sorare market in the SO5 arena. So I think if we start there, we can then extrapolate things back the way into limited and into commons. And a lot of these things that we're going to examine from the rares in particular is scalable into these other scarcities as well. Even the higher up ones that we're not going to go into in any detail today, like super rares and uniques, for example. If you want to check out the limited and the common specific stuff, just look at the timestamps in the video and I'll get you to the part of the video you're after. Now, with the lay of the land as we find it now, the new competitions that will be coming out across all the scarcities in the cap mode, 220, 240, 270, for me are just easier, more massaged versions of what we've had already. The E threshold is going to be available from cap 240 for hitting 250 points. Cap mode 220 feeling like the underdog competition, and cap 270 feeling like the specialist. Now, when you read through the whole article that Sorare released with all the updates, they do state and specify that cap 270 in every scarcity is where they want the biggest and best prizes available. They also mention that in this cap mode you will be double dipping, so you will be winning cards from the scarcity you're playing with as well as the one above. Now, the most appealing cap mode across the whole spectrum to be winning the best quality of cards possible in dual scarcities is of course going to be in the rare competition. Now, cap 270, which is going to be replacing Specialist Rare for all intents and purposes in mind, body and spirit in the SO5 arena. It rewarding high-end rares is what Sorare are telling us is going to come out of it, and any level of super rare that's really appropriate for top 10, top 3, top 100, who knows how many places we'll get for double scarcity, double dipping. But that cap 270 is going to become a fantastic division that managers with all sorts of budgets are going to be able to be competitive in and win fantastic rewards from. Now, the difficult thing that's going to come for rare cards, okay, is we've got three kind of sections we can look at here. We've got the cap 240, of course, for the threshold. Sorry, that zooms went the wrong way there. The cap 270 for the big hitters, like we're talking about, but then also what we're already familiar with in the All-Star and the regions, and in the All-Star and the regions for the rare pro, where we're mixing super rare and rare cards, because the extent of the prize pools for particularly the rare competitions, I'm actually moderately expecting to be nerfed for the largest part for the better quality stuff, because I do think with what they've said about the cap mode, they do want that to be the thing that propels you through the game. And then maybe regions and all-star is where you'll then come to and live, where you don't need to worry about, oh, my guys are capped 300 this week. Well, you're playing all-star, you're playing under 23. So I think these are the points. That's why they're off this chain a little bit to the right or to the left, depending on what part of the flow we're at. Is there like checkpoints? I think that's the way they're going to be designed, and that's probably the way a lot of Sorare managers will feel them come to be as we develop out. And particularly for rare pro, that's definitely been the way the Sorare SO5 arena has went, is where a lot of players aim to get to that island. They want to get to that island and be competitive. And again, equally, as long as the prizes there don't really change too much, I think that island will be relatively content for the most part, and will probably still thrive in the SO5 arena the way it has. But as we know, Specialist in the rare competition in particular was very poor, if not the worst thing going. So that mode, if you've had rare cards and you've been grinding for thresholds, if you've got a big enough squad now, what you're probably going to be walking yourself into the position of, or even if you've got quite a thin squad, but you're maybe not too far away from, is having a squad that can, you know, that you've got top v bottom, like your guys playing the top of the division-esque team, and they're playing somebody in the relegation zone at home, and it's 3 or 4 of them are all in the same kind of situation. Then you can play for 270 and you can extend yourself and you can move your way up in that respect. And once you've got a couple of cards in your bucket, the quality of cards 40 and 270, I think is going to be a great game dynamic, though, because the guys that you can't just willy-nilly patches of form will have dodgy fixture patterns, you know, out of sync maybe with the main body of the calendar. And I see rares is continuing to be for Sorare the absolute lifeblood of the SO5. And what I mean by that is it's like the main vein that everything kind of pumps through, where the majority of users are having their major success and where people really feel that they're engaged with the game at sort of real, you know, pay-to-play element of it. You know, we've obviously got the other scale of the chart that will go down from there. But for me, rares is where it gets serious now. Rares is where it becomes like, you're on this flow chart. You're going to be in the mix eventually to win super rares. You're going to be in the mix to win $50 worth of Ethereum every game week from cap mode 240. And with that, you know, like if you're a passive football fan playing Sorare, but able to pull out, let's just say over a European season, like 10 thresholds, that's 500 quid. You could buy a season ticket for your own club. You can buy like shirts galore. You can buy more cards. You can do anything you want with that. And I think that is going to be, you know, for the whole aspect of the game, rares is going to be where it's going to be at. That's where the main part of the game is going to be for real player engagement, enjoyment, and ultimate success, and that kind of whole road to glory, going from zero to hero aspect. So if you're in rares at the moment, I think rare goalkeepers, especially backups, if you've not got any at the moment, having these guys sitting in low, 'cause I'm getting news all the time now, and I've got some backups that might actually, that I totally wrote off, might get some utility this season in any window of utility for a backup keeper when there is so much on offer. I do recommend any backup you're maybe sniffing around already, any backups you've already got that do have a possibility of playing that you're on the fence with. Oh, I could maybe turn him into a forward for this game week and then I can play today, and I will forget about the speculation on the goalkeeper. I think because when you look at this in All-Stars and Regions, I think we've got 6 competitions in there. Same for the Pro, so that's 12. And then you add in, even if you're to go to kick off and play with some limited cards perhaps, or to kick off Super Rare and play with a Super Rare card is your big one. You're looking at the thick end of 15 goalkeepers being needed, and there's going to be very few people that can achieve that. And what you're going to find is people that now that were currently just running in All-Stars and Regions and didn't care about kickoff. I didn't care about underdog. No one plays goalkeepers underdog anyway for the most part. No one cared that much about All-Star for thresholds. They've now got 2 options because All-Star is still a division and now cap 240s over here. Does your old All-Star cohort of cards eligible every week for cap 240? Unlikely. So we're going to see a real kind of dividing of the Red Sea, as it were, and we're going to see a lot of opportunities, particularly, I think, in the month of February and March. I think there's a huge opportunity for all sorts of galleries with rare cards to win fantastic outcomes across these tournaments over the first 8 weeks especially, which would be like the first 16 game weeks. So have a look at the calendar, have a look at the fixtures, see what you've got, and it's obviously going to be very difficult, near impossible, to forecast what somebody's L15 is going to be in 2 months from now, of course. But with this game element, it's squad based, and then that kind of rules me into the limited stuff that I was going to talk about in the video today. And for me, when you look at the announcement that Sorare brought out, all the fun, real world engagement stuff feels like it's going to be won in the limited competitions, and it feels like it's going to be won in the limited league specific competitions. Now, these league specific competitions as of now are not going to be coming to rare, so if you want to be entered into competitions where you can win match day tickets to the big 5 leagues in the world, never mind anywhere else, sign tops, experience, like there's somebody this week won the opportunity from the Serie A challenge to fly with the AC Milan squad to Spezia or something like that for the match and then go to the game and all that kind of stuff. Can you imagine winning a prize like that from wherever you are in world football? And even if you weren't, imagine just doing that with AC Milan anyway, one of the biggest and most historic teams in the world, going on the private jet with them from Milan to, you know, Spezia or whatever. And that's going to be exclusive, in my opinion, to the limiteds. So we're going to have, like, as we mentioned there, in terms of the amount of goalkeepers we're going to need for rares, right? But if you're looking at limiteds, you've got the same requirement, basically. You've got 6 there between All-Stars and Regions off the top of my head. You then get 3 for the cap modes, and you're going to have an additional 5 for the league-specific competitions, Serie A Challenge, La Liga, whatever they're going to call them. So depending on how competitive you want to be, that cap mode 240, of course, if you can be pulling the threshold out of that and pulling $5 a week, then that's great capital, great arsenal. If that's the budget of the game you find yourself at, to really help you think about, and in my opinion, thresholds from this limited, if you are a limited player, you should be stacking that up and saving that up to get yourself into rare kickoff somehow. Or, you know, you can obviously upgrade your team or whatever, but if that was me, I was a limited only player and I only had like the Road to Glory team that I've got on the channel, if that was my only cards, that's exactly the strategy I'd be building towards, is build up those thresholds to get a rare card on the game, as it were. Beat the game, earn the thresholds enough where I can go and buy a 0.1 rare card of a midfielder or a forward that I like, whatever it might be. But if you've been playing rares for fun, like, and you've been playing the rare competitions to be a fan of your team and get engaged and all that kind of stuff, then the onus isn't really there anymore for rares. You can very much be much more of an armchair fan, support your own team at limited level. When I first found Sorare, there was like barely any clubs on it, and I mean that, it was like maybe like 12 teams in Europe, on top of the Belgian league, and then like a month after I joined, MLS signed, and then the J League signed, and the K League signed, I think. On top of it. So I didn't have much variety when I came onto the platform. No one did, of course. And as time goes on and on and on, and more licenses get signed, you've got all the variety in the world. You can really pick your favourite players. And I think for limited, that is exactly what you should be doing. I recently sold all my limited cards after having them for a year. And I can tell you, in a nutshell, my main advice would be, from playing from limiteds for a year, the value of them is so volatile, and because there's always just going to be more every season, particularly for limiteds, and how many of them there are, and how many of them just don't have that much of an audience, make sure you've got limiteds that you really enjoy playing Sorare with, and you want to have the utility from them for any of these rewards and competitions that we're discussing today, particularly the ones that are to do with real life world competition stuff, you know, like winning tickets and signed jerseys and experiences and that sort of thing. Because buying a card to play in fantasy tournament in the off chance that you win something like that, you're not going to be monitoring the price of it every single day. But if you're buying a guy because he's a £20 goalkeeper and then he gets benched and becomes a tenner, and that kind of scuppers your strategy and your plans, that can be very disheartening. And limiteds are volatile enough where, you know, people can go down to as low as like 80 pence or something, you know. So with limiteds, especially if I was opening my account now, like, I think about this condition Celtic were in when I found Sorare. It's different to where they're at now. But I would have bought Celtic players and I would have replaced all the holes in the team. You know, I would have went out and we had Barkas and goals at the time and he was very, very bad. But I would have replaced him. I'd have got some defense. You know, I would have done some stuff. But I'd have had the Celtic players that I liked in the team still, that I still liked following, even though the team wasn't doing great and probably wasn't scoring too well. And no matter who you are, no matter who you support, if you have that option available to you. That's exactly what I'd recommend you do with limiteds, is go and get a couple of guys that play for your team, used to play for your team, might sign for your team next year. Maybe they play for your team, but they're out on loan somewhere. These are the kind of guys I would want to get because, again, as well, depending on how well you use SorareData.com, and if you're not using that, please do check it out. It can show you all the price graphs on every player at every card scarcity, so you can make the best decisions possible for evaluating a card being a good price or not. You don't need to rely on me for that. Because limiteds are going to get more and more utility, so having them, I believe, is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm actually quite glad that we're doing the Road to Glory series now the way we are, because I get to relive that again with you guys and build the limiteds together and go through all these cap modes, really scratching around with not very much. So I'll very much look forward to the Road to Glory series, developing through all these cap modes with all of us playing it together. And I think on the Road to Glory series, the Penfez said it on the End Product podcast this week, but this is a very achievable flowchart. If you're a football fan, like if you are a proper football fan and you get this game and you play it, like your objective at every turn is going to be getting to cap 270, because that's where you're getting double bubble payout. If you're playing at cap 270 with limited cards, you're going to receive limiteds and rares paid out in that podium. In that prize pool, I beg your pardon, we don't know the extent of how far yet. Probably podium's a safe assumption. And it's going to be a rinse and repeat. You'll probably find it's dead easier now to stack on players vertically. I think somebody released a video over a year ago suggesting that might be a good idea, on top of lots of other stuff. On that note, by the way, please do feel free to go back through the channel. All the old stuff is still good content. I do recommend it if you're bored and you're going down rabbit holes and all that fun stuff. But then that takes me on, guys, to the final part. If I was starting Sorare today, and I was going to be a free-to-play player, I was just going to do it with no money at all, no real outlay, just playing commons, doing the drafts and whatever as well, then there's not really too much advice to go along with that, other than, you know, making sure that you fulfill deadlines. There's less to do now in terms of training as well, so it can be much easier to be a passive common player engaging with the game. And then, like I've always recommended on the channel, people spending money on cards always comes from your recreational fund, you know, like the money you would have spent on a couple of pizzas, or I used to gamble, so it'd be money I'd spend on betting or on FIFA packs and different other things that I've wasted money on in my life, you know. And I think the free-to-play element is so engaging, and you've got the potential to win limited cards from that, of course you do. But I think just by accepting, I'm going to play this with no money and really leaning into it, is probably the best time to do that, because almost every other time on the platform since I've been on it, whenever new users come on, the free-to-play model has been so bare bones and lackluster that once you do get the grasp of it after like a game week or two, because Sorare seems complicated, but really after you've played it for like a few game weeks, I get it. That happens a few times before you really get it, if that makes sense. But like, you'll get that first one within a week or two. It'll kind of make sense. And it would always just light a fire under people's bums to get into limiteds, to get into rares, maybe a little bit sooner than what they were ready for. Like I said, there's a few of those aha moments I think everyone goes through when they first start playing this game. But now the free-to-play model is engaging enough where I think you can stay in it for a few of those aha moments, and then maybe you pick up a cheeky limited here and there because they're a tenner. Maybe you find a rare for 50 quid that you think, wow, that's amazing. Who knows? And it's, you know, I'm always a big fan as well on Sorare of happy accidents happening. You know, you're maybe thinking about something, you then see it listed or an auction's at a convenient time for you. Whatever, I don't know. Happy accidents are always good for me since I've been on Sorare for sure, in terms of those acquisitions that you're kind of maybe thinking about in terms of moving up a level, going from common to limited, limited to rare, rare to super rare, whatever. But if you are starting free to play, there is not much advice other than staying tuned to the channel and making sure you stay up to date with all the latest third-party applications that help you with your decision-making process, as well as understanding what's going on every game week, who is going to be played, who is the predicted, who is the expected 11s. And no better place to do that than here on the channel. Please do subscribe. We go live once a week where me and Harry Trades, we go through the prize pools, we look at all the stuff for the game week, and we go on and we try and get all the predicted 11s we can for all the teams that are going to make waves in the leaderboard. The live chat always get involved amazingly as well. And to be honest with you, the Thursday live streams is probably one of the highlights of my week, because I get to talk to you guys. We're getting ready for big game weeks, and there's just always so much going on. I hope you've enjoyed this one today, guys. At any point in the video, if you did laugh or learn or like something, I don't know, then I hope you did like and subscribe to the channel already. Please drop a comment down below about what you think about if you started playing Sorare today. For yourself, you could have your time back again and you could go again today. How would you do it differently? Let me know down below. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.